Yep, we're back to normal, back to new releases chock full of news, right here, right now. Greetings petrolheads and welcome to rumrum.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and to a regular news roundup. Thanks for watching, my name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. If you have any news for us, send us a mail to news@rumrum.net. Well, this is an embarrassment of riches. Added to all the news we have, we can tell you that Assetto Corsa Mobile got released. On the other hand, if you want the real deal, Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione are discounted at the moment due to 505 games celebrating their 15th anniversary. If you ask us, we recommend you get Assetto Corsa Ultimate, which is Assetto Corsa with all DLCs. Dirt cheap and still an excellent sim. Oh yeah, and Dirt 5 dropped another DLC in case anybody is still playing that dud. Last week we were telling you about their Zandvoort update and it's out now, but this is of course not the reason for this news. As they often do at the change of the month, CW35 have published a roadmap update. They've been working on the updates to all the tattoo cars they've published over the years and expect to be publishing them at some point during this month. While they have a new version of the sim finished, it's still being tested and will not be able to publish it just yet, although they expect to have a release candidate ready for public beta testing in the next weeks. Until such a time, they've told us what they expect this version to bring, which would be faster loading times as well as a faster reaction by the sim, which would be most welcome as you feel like going back to the times when surfing the internet was done on low-speed modems. That's like using 3G for all you young ones, and bless you if you don't even remember a time with 3G speed. Also, they have rebalanced the lighting of graphics so it doesn't look as dark in dark places as it did before. And that's all for rFactor 2. It may sound like not much has been done, but making a piece of software run faster than before is grueling work where sometimes you go over the same code, optimizing small things that all add up to a significant change in speed. Or not, and you start the same grueling work on a different place in the code, hoping this is the one. No sooner were we wondering what had happened to Wreckfest Tournaments that BAM! A new one came in through the door. The Folk Frenzy with a reward bundle for your trusty Firefly, the mostest powerfulest car in the sim. Also, the developers have added 2 new routes to the Furwood Moto Center, and for whatever reason, possibly some censorship, they removed all zombies and the effects from the Carmageddon maps. There's been a couple of minor, middle and major bugs removed in gameplay, multiplayer and audio, mostly for PC systems. Well, not really much happening there, right? Maybe we'll hear more about Wreckfest in the 10-year anniversary showcase scheduled for September 17th. This month is a mixed bag with mostly lower numbers than last month. The total number of average racers per day, 30-day average, is the lowest we have yet seen, keeping in mind we only started in April of this year. But sims like Assetto Corsa decidedly went against the trend and registered more racers than in the last month and a higher number than in many of the other months, as does Assetto Corsa Competizione, though the latter, while averaging more drivers than last month, shows the second lowest number we've encountered for that sim. All the other sims, including BeamNG, show lower numbers, with most of them showing the lowest numbers in our limited record. While we already gave our opinion why Assetto Corsa is still going strong, this poses a big challenge to Kunos, as their Assetto Corsa 2, whenever it comes out, will be measured back to a very beloved sim that still has a lot of juice in it. They are back, as maybe a peek into what the Le Mans 24 sim may bring as content. Motorsport games, together with Automobile Club de l'Ouest, the organization of the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the WEC, bring us the Le Mans Virtual Series, which will have a €250,000 prize pool. The calendar is different from the WEC calendar though, and we don't only mean the dates. While the actual WEC does Spa, Monza, Bahrain, Portimao and Le Mans, the virtual Le Mans is going to do Monza, Spa, Nürburgring, Sebring and, well, of course, Le Mans. There will be two types of races, one for pros, one open to everyone, and of course you'll have GTE as well as LMP cars. The LMH and LMHP cars have not yet arrived, it would seem. As with last year, the sim of choice will be rFactor 2, and the required content to take part will be the Norma M30, Le Mans, Nürburgring, Monza, Spa. Why are we telling you the requirements? Because everyone can take part. Before every race, there will be qualification sessions split by every 30 drivers. The highest split, the fastest 30 drivers, will be invited to the race that is going to be streamed live. For the schedule and further details, see the link in our description, and remember where you heard about it once you've won the championship, okay? So, SCS Software are redoing the graphics on both truck games, setting up new regions, again in both games, giving us multiplayer convoys in both games, and now they're giving us the LT International Track for free as a DLC. Unluckily only for American Truck Simulator, but hey, that's life. Hey, we already entered the second year of SnowRunner's existence and are now getting into Season 5. Just a side note here, if you have the Year 1 Season Pass, this will not get you into Season 5. You'll need to buy it separately or just buy the Season 2 Season Pass. Season 5 of SnowRunner starts officially on the 9th of November. Yeah, 9th09, haha, funny and all that. For all platforms and versions. It's called Build and Dispatch. With it come two new trucks, the Tatra Phoenix and the Tatra Force T815-7. This last one being a twin steer as far as we can tell. Also, you'll get three new features. An articulate towing platform and a ramped one where you can place whatever you are towing onto your truck, including towing trailers this way. Also, you will be able to hide your complete HUD, it only being shown when you need to use it, like changing the type of gear or the special menus. This will be also great for something like a photo mode, which is something the community has been asking for since day one, because the graphics of this game can be breathtaking. Well, not when you're sideways in the mud, but you should try to avoid that anyway. Of course, this new season brings a new region for you to suffer the exquisite pains of transporting stuff on difficult terrain. The developers have not said much about it other than letting us know it's set in autumnal Russia, but those using the test server know it's going to be Rostov Oblast with two maps as far as we can see. The goal in this season is to restore a Tatra factory. Another big update is going to be the ability to crossplay, the first step being crossplay on PC between Steam, Epic and the Microsoft Store. We know the developers are also working on an overall crossplay, so keep your fingers crossed. Season 6 is going to be called Haul and Hustle and will bring new American trucks as well as a new US region, your goal being to build and support a logging operation deep in the snowy wilderness. Season 7, Compute and Conquer, will delve into the world of off-road motorsport of sorts, with tournaments and vehicles fitting the motto. With regards to Season 8, they just call it Expansion 2 and say it will add a new mode of playing SnowRunner. If you like this video and would like to see more and better produced ones, consider becoming a patron, thus letting us spread our wings. The more support we get, the more time we can spend on these and other videos. Not only has Automobilista 2 been updated to version 1.2.3.1, but amongst many other changes, it brought the Corvette C3 into the Sim and into the Vintage Touring and the GT Classics classes. Some general interesting changes first. You can now scale the level of damage cars get and can enable or disable pit stop refueling. The weather data has been updated, and speaking of weather, the real weather feature now uses the real environment temperatures of all tracks, and for any races not using the actual date, it uses historical data, these data being date accurate up to the 1st of January 1979. With regards to the HUD and UI, there's only been some minor bug fixes as well as with the AI, but how could it be differently with Reza? The fiddling with the physics continues, with tread adjustments, lots of minor fixes and fixes in the intake manifold pressure model. In case you don't know, an intake manifold is that thing in a motor. That's the level of detail Reza brings. Am I geeking out again? Sorry. These changes were made to many, if not all, of the cars, but the Porsche RSR 1974 saw a lot of changes and fixes: tire carcass, tire treads, height, inertia, default setup and the performance of the wet tires. The sound department has fixed some bugs, but also added pickup sound effects and diversified the sound you hear depending on the surface you're driving on. Curbs, AstroTurf and concrete now sound different from each other, and depends of course on which car you are driving. Also, for a small number of tracks or their historic version, the curb sound has been corrected. The fiddling intensified with corrections and graphic enhancements in so many tracks you'd fall asleep in the middle of my list, so if you want any details, check the link in our description. And last but not least, the Metalmoro MRX got driver animations and some polish, as did the Corolla 2021, the F-Trainer and the helmets and suits for vintage GT racing. Let's go to what the near future will bring, shall we? One of the most iconic BMWs ever built, the 2002 Turbo, will be added to the roadster in the next update, and while the AI wasn't ready for this month's update, they expect to have it ready for the next one, which will include improved reactions to blue flags. And what track are they adding to Automobilista 2? Monza! Yeah, the track no other sim has. On the other hand, if you check open lobbies, most people seem to only want to drive at Monza. It's not that Monza's not fun, it's only strange nobody wants to race anywhere else. Especially in Automobilista 2, which has a full roster with tracks nobody else has. Anyway, Monza it is, and as Reza have accustomed us to, it will not only be the actual track, but also historic versions of it. Be ready for Monza 1971 with the wonderful banking, and Monza 1991 before they reduced the speed at some places after Senna's fatal accident. And while Reza considers the premium track pack finished as soon as they release Monza, they will be adding a sixth, as yet undisclosed track to it as a bonus. This will not come until the next year though. And they are teasing a third generation of cars within their F retro lineups. If you, like us, are impatiently awaiting the release of the second part of the Racing USA DLCs, Reza have stated this will be released in late November. Another thing arriving in late November will be the beta release of a multiplayer rating system. As always, tons of work done by Reza, as well as tons of work in front of them. I don't think there's many other sims that offer more bang for the buck. And you will find tons of videos in our channel if you check the playlist to the left or the video to the right. Until next time, stay fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.